How's everyone doing? Today I'll be doing a video on the top 10 horror Blu-ray slipcovers. Now I want to preface this by saying these aren't the rarest horror Blu-rays or slipcovers or the best horror movies out there. These are just the best horror Blu-ray slipcovers in my opinion. And let me know what you think of my list, and if you've seen the movies and what you think of them, and what horror Blu-ray slipcovers would be on your list for the top 10 horror Blu-ray slipcovers. But now let's go ahead and get into the list. At the number 10 spot is James Wan's The Conjuring with a lenticular slipcover. This is a Warner Brothers release. You can see the clapping right there. To me, that's what really makes this lenticular slipcover work. A lot of lenticular slipcovers don't have a lot of movement, and you get the match in there as well. And I just think that works really well, especially for the movie. Hopefully it's picking it up on here. And I always say this, The Conjuring didn't do anything new conceptually. It's all stuff we've seen before, but it's one of the best of its ilk. It does everything right. The cast was excellent, although every time I see Ron Livingston, I always think of Office Space. I just can't help it. I love that movie. But the cast really did shine here and added some believability factor to it and had great atmosphere. And I really did enjoy the movie, even though, like I said, nothing new conceptually, but one of the best of its ilk. And that slipcover is just freaking awesome. Let me know what your favorite James Wan movie is. For me, it's Dead Silence. Death Sentence would be number 2. I think very underrated. And I think Conjuring would probably be the 3rd on my list. And the number 9 spot is Triangle. This is a UK slipcover. As you can see, it doesn't go all the way up to the top like the US slipcovers, which I think is a little, I'm just not used to it. It's a little weird for me. But I really love, again, the lenticular slipcover for this. Melissa George was awesome here. A super tense film. I love the twist at the end. Just a very underrated movie in my opinion. Triangle is definitely excellent. It has some great psychological horror elements going on there, and part of the reason I think this is a really good slipcover, again, is it works for the film. You could see that little portal right there, and in the background, the killer, the bag, and then Melissa George. So I think it works really well, and a nice UK slipcover. This is Region B locked though. There are a bunch of lenticular ones from the UK, but for me this is probably the best one out there that I've seen, and again very fitting for the movie, which is part of the reason I picked it. And a very underrated film. And next up from Scream Factory in the US here is The Babadook. Duke. Great Australian horror film, an allegory for postpartum depression. Great atmosphere. The little kid was so annoying to me, and I think that's part of the believability factor for this film, because, you know, little kids can be like bratty and stuff like that, so it worked. Great special features in here too if you're a fan, but it's all about the gatefold pop-up slipcover right there for the Babadook. How cool is that? That's friggin' awesome. There needs to be more pop-up slipcovers like that. And again, another one that's really fitting for the film. If it's in a word or it's in a look, you can't get rid of the Babadook. Duke. I friggin' love this movie. I did a full movie review of this when it came out. You can check that out on my channel, but a really cool slipcover. Very simplistic on the front with the red and kind of like the book design, and then popping out is the Babadook. So that's my number 8 spot for the top horror Blu-ray slipcovers, the Babadook. Next up at the number 7 spot is Trick or Treat. Now this is actually a hard slipcover to find. They had a limited edition for the slipcovers, and they, you know, re-released it without the slipcovers. So to get it with the slipcover, I've seen prices for this go for ridiculous amounts. But I really love this one. Great horror Halloween themed anthology. Let me know which was your favorite segment. For me, Anna Paquin's segment was my favorite, and I love Sam right there in the front. You can kind of get like a hollow foil design right around him, then you can see the rest of the cast in the background. Definitely an excellent film, great to watch on Halloween or around Halloween. And I used to think this is underrated, but now I think it's finally getting its due and recognition, long overdue, and I'm looking forward to checking out the sequel for it. And a great cast in here. Next up at my number 6 spot is John Carpenter's The Thing. This is a Scream Factory release. I absolutely love the design, the artwork. I've seen so many different artwork choices for all the different releases for The Thing. This is one of my favorites now. It was actually hard to pick, you know, a Scream Factory release with newly commissioned artwork, because there's so many great choices out there. Pumpkinhead, The Fog, a ton of different ones. Some great artwork for the Scream Factory releases, but to me, this is my favorite. Again, The Thing is my all-time favorite movie. The sense of isolation, paranoia, Dean Cunny's cinematography, Rob Bottin's practical effects, Ennio Morricone's score, John Carpenter's directing, the whole cast. Again, I love horror movies with a snowy setting. The Antarctic Research Station has that in spades. Just everything about this movie is phenomenal. An all-time classic sci-fi horror movie, and that cover is just amazing. And one of the things that I like about the Scream Factory ones is, you know, besides that, they can do the reversible artwork in there, so you get the old glow face design right there. And there is a deluxe edition that also has a another like variant artwork, but I hated the artwork for that one, so I'm very happy to get the standard release right there. I think that looks amazing. So fantastic release for this film, ton of special features, the best it's ever looked. This is the definitive edition for John Carpenter's The Thing, and love the heck out of that slipcover from Scream Factory. Great artwork. And my number 5 spot are the Universal Monster glow-in-the-dark releases from Universal. They always re-release these around Halloween for different slipcovers and different artwork and things like that, but this is definitely the best and coolest re-release for it with the glow-in-the-dark slipcovers. Very simplistic designs outside of the glow-in-the-dark aspect. I like the kind of like the splatter work at the top and the embossing on the title and then the characters. I still have to get a couple more of them myself. They were hard to find in good condition. A lot of the Walmarts didn't have them, or either didn't have them in good condition. They're all beat up. These were Walmart exclusives. So the Invisible Man right there, Phantom of the Opera, the Mummy, the Wolfman, and Bride of Frankenstein. So I still have to get Frankenstein and Dracula and the Creature from the Black Lagoon. The Creature from the Black Lagoon is the one that I want the most, but super cool, and I'm happy that I was able to find these ones. Yeah, again, hard to find in good condition, but super cool design for the glow-in-the-dark right there. Dig the heck out of it. And again, they always have the artwork, the classic artwork on the back, and all the bonus features and stuff like that. So that's also really cool. Next up at my number 4 spot is The Ring. This is a Best Buy exclusive lenticular slipcover. You get Naomi Watts in the background for the title, and Samara right there jumping out at you. How cool is that? I think this is an excellent remake. I actually prefer it over Ringu. One of the better American remakes. Very tense and atmospheric. I love the way that it was shot. Great directing from Gore Verbinski. And love that slipcover. Just full of creepy imagery, and that just really jumps out at you too. Super cool. And at my number 3 spot is the Vinegar Syndrome release for Jack Frost. This was a limited slipcover and just a really cool one. It's super cheesy movie right there, Killer Snowman, but that slipcover is just freaking awesome. How cool is that? Vinegar Syndrome has a lot of really neat slipcovers as well. They're mostly limited, so you got to get them quickly or they'll sell out and people will try to jack up the prices on eBay. But love the heck out of it, and this had to be on the list. Again, super cheesy horror movie, horror comedy, and also had an early role of Shannon Elizabeth from American Pie. And yeah, definitely one that had to go on the list for that slipcover. So awesome. And my number 2 spot is the Canadian release for Piranha. This movie was super cheesy, but entertaining as well. You know what you're getting yourself into for this movie. A decent remake. I actually might prefer it more than the original, just for the cheesiness and entertainment factor of it. They kind of went in a more comedic, over-the-top aspect for this remake, and it worked. But it's all about the gatefold pop-up slipcover, which I am a fan of. How awesome is that with Ving Rhames right there? And then even in the background, you get some effect of the piranhas. You can see the eyeball down there, some other body parts floating around, and it says "chew on this." He's got the motor propeller going right there. So that's just super awesome. I love these gatefold pop-up slipcovers. There's also a really cool one for Hobo with a Shotgun, but I consider that more of a thriller than horror. But this one was amazing, and I like the embossing on the front cover for this too, a really nice sheen to it, glossy effect. And at my number 1 spot for the top horror Blu-ray slipcovers is The Shallows, right there with Blake Lively. I ended up picking this up on 4K Ultra HD and the regular Blu-ray. just because I love the heck out of this movie. One of my favorite shark attack movies ever now. My favorite since Jaws. A great character-driven shark attack movie. Blake Lively is stunning. This is one of the ones that convinced me about 4K Ultra HD. The HDR was amazing. I watched it first in Blu-ray and then I watched it in 4K, and you can tell there was a noticeable difference. It really just shined and popped. So vibrant. The shooting location was amazing, and Blake Lively in 4K, yes. But what I really like about this slipcover is the blood simulation on the bottom with the shark and Blake Lively in there. So I just thought that was super cool and had to be the #1 for me. Love the lenticular aspect to it with the blood. Really works well. And there's the seagull right there on the back. That was very entertaining to me. But again, a great shark attack movie. Great character-driven shark attack movie. And I put that on my #1 list because big fan of Blake Lively, big fan of this movie. And I love the blood red lenticular aspect to it for the slipcover. So there we go. That is my list for the top 10 horror Blu-ray slipcovers. Some gatefold pop-up covers, some glow-in-the-dark, some lenticular, a different mixture of stuff, just really cool artwork. Let me know what you think of my list for the top 10 horror Blu-ray slipcovers. If you've seen the movies, what you think of them, and what would be on your list for the top 10 horror Blu-ray slipcovers. Leave me a comment or video response down below. Hope everyone's doing well. Take care.